In the criminal justice system, the people are represented by two separate yet equally important groups: the police who investigate crime and the district attorneys who prosecute the offenders. These are their stories.
Good evening, Bahamas. You're tuned into NV12, broadcasting from Cable 12 Studios on Robinson Road. Coming up tonight in news, an explosion at a popular dive resort, a woman attacked by a pack of dogs, a teen is charged with murder, plus the latest from the coroner's inquest into Aaron Roll's death in police custody. We've got those stories and so much more coming up. I'm Paige McCartney, and NV12 starts right now. Welcome once again to NB12. An elderly man is lucky to be alive tonight following an explosion at one of the country's top dive resorts. Police and fire officials raced to Stuart Cove this morning after learning of the accident, which left one man in hospital and two employees with minor injuries. The facility's owner likened the tank explosion to a bomb going off, saying this accident could have easily been fatal. Fanique Toot has the details. We warn you, though, some of this footage is graphic.
A routine exercise went very wrong here at Stuart's Cove this morning. Police say a 65-year-old man was filling an oxygen tank when it exploded. To give you an idea of the extent of his injuries, just look at the blood that was left behind. EMS personnel rushed the victim to hospital moments after the incident, which occurred at the popular tourist attraction in southwestern New Providence around 10:40 a.m.
The gentleman who bought the tank to be filled had a fairly serious contusion on his leg and a broken bone on his leg. He has since been taken to the doctor's hospital. He is completely coherent and conscious.
It does not appear at this time that the injuries are life-threatening.
Owner Stuart Cove says the victim was a regular at the dive resort, which often fills tanks for government agencies and private companies. He says two of his employees also received minor injuries during the explosion, which blew a big chunk out of this door and sent parts of the tank flying into the water. A Stuart Cove employee was seen diving into the relatively shallow waters to retrieve the piece for investigators. It's unclear what went wrong this morning, but Cove says there is a possibility something was wrong with the tank brought in.
The tank, the pieces, we inspected them. The tank is in date. We don't know what goes wrong, and we have all the authorities here. We have the bomb squad, we have the different police departments here, and they will do an investigation and figure out what went wrong. But there must have been a defect in the tank that we were filling, but that's just speculation. I don't know what went wrong, and of course that's why we have the professionals here to see what went wrong. We have filled hundreds of thousands of tanks over the years and never had this kind of incident happen.
He says tanks are inspected every year and are hydrostatically tested every 5 years. Tanks are also stamped with dates to ensure they are safe enough to be filled. Cove says they're lucky tourists participating in dive tours had already left, and very few staffers were on the deck at the time.
It's a terrible, unfortunate situation. Luckily, the gentleman wasn't fatally injured, and it could have been. I mean, it was a very bad situation. It was a bomb, and that's why the bomb is here. And when a scuba tank explodes, I mean, it's just like a bomb going off.
Officer in charge of the Western Division, Superintendent Lehman Delaveau, says though foul play is not suspected, an investigation has been launched into this matter.
Once a matter is reported to the police, a full-scale investigation will take place. And if anyone is found wanting, certainly charges will be brought. We are unable to say that this investigation is in its early stages. We'll interview all of the persons who are concerned and we'll make a determination.
Now, Cove says he looks forward to the conclusion of police investigations so that they can determine what happened here this morning and ensure that it never happens again. Reporting for NB12, I'm Vonnie Toot.
Well, the spike in the number of dog attacks being reported in the Cable Beach area has led the Bahamas Humane Society to set traps in the hopes of catching roaming dogs believed to be behind the attacks. But as Christina McNeil tells us in this next report, for one woman, the setting of traps has come too late. Again, a warning, there are also some graphic images in this report.
An early morning jog took a turn for the worst for a regular along the Cable Beach Strip after she was viciously attacked by a pack of dogs early Tuesday morning, just feet away from the Cable Beach police station.
Sharon Bethel Gill says she was running the Cable Beach Strip with her dog between 5 and 6 a.m. Tuesday morning when she spotted a pack of dogs up ahead near the police station. Recognizing that the dogs were already excited, Gill made the decision to cross the road in an attempt to avoid them. But in her attempt, Gill fell. The next thing she knew, she was surrounded by the pack of dogs.
The dogs approached me and they surrounded me and my dog and they attacked me. As you can see, the damage that has been done. Unfortunately, there was no one nearby at the time of the incident. There was no traffic, nobody jogging, nobody walking, and I was just screaming and yelling and hoping that the dogs would just leave me alone. But they were determined. They were on a mission, and I was left stranded there, fighting defensively.
The result? 3 hours in the emergency room, 24 stitches in one wound, and more than 50 stitches on both legs. Bahamas Humane Society Inspector Percy Grant tells our news team that the BHS has received reports of 3 dog attacks in the Cable Beach area in recent weeks. Grant says more than likely the scent of food coming from the area of the man camp at Baha Mar is attracting stray and roaming dogs from Gladstone Road and other areas. Gill says she has seen the dogs roaming the area before, and they appear to be well taken care of.
I am a dog lover, and I'm just amazed and upset that people have, they don't care for their animals. They're not responsible, and it's happened to me. The dogs, I've seen them before. They've come after me before, but the area that they were in, it was not a familiar area. But they hang out at the golf course at the Bahama development site. And the dogs appear to be healthy. They don't appear to be stray.
Grant says traps have been set in the area to capture some of the dogs. Animal Control has confirmed that 2 dogs have been captured from the Cable Beach area so far. But Gill says dog attacks have the potential to be a lot worse than hers, and she fears what would have happened if a child had been attacked.
We need to do something, and I don't know for sure if there are other people who have been attacked by these same dogs, but I'm pleading to the owners of these dogs to please step forward and to get them away from the area, because if it was a kid, the kid could have been killed. I'm asking all citizens to please come forward and take responsibility, be responsible for your animals. Our country is faced right now with warnings to our visitors of crime. What's going to happen now? We're going to warn our visitors that beware of the dogs, that you're going to get attacked. It's not good for our industry, and we need help.
Meanwhile, Grant is advising members of the public to be aware of their surroundings when out exercising, especially in the early mornings and evenings, and avoid dogs in packs.
It's still too early to determine just how long recovery will take, but Gill says when she does return to the Cable Beach Strip, she doesn't want to do so in fear. Rather, she says she would like to know that changes have been made to keep roaming dogs away from joggers and pedestrians. Reporting for NB12, I'm Christina McNeil.
Well, a Haitian man was found dead inside a building in Coral Harbor this morning. Officer in charge of the Airport Division, ASB Dennis Dame, says relatives made the disturbing discovery. He says family members searched for him this morning after he never made it home last night.
And his family members knew where he worked in Coral Harbor, so they went there to look for him. And they found him, the place where he worked, laying down on his back. He was deceased. What they did was, when they called in the authorities, and they found that there's no visible signs of any injury or anything of that sort. So it's suspected that he might have died of natural causes, but we wouldn't know that until an autopsy would have been performed.
Authorities believe the middle-aged man worked alone. Dame says foul play isn't suspected and authorities are treating this matter as a sudden death. Well, 19-year-old Bethany Rigby from Marsh Harbor, Abaco was today charged with the murder of 45-year-old Hillary Cargill, a resident of Little Blair, who was killed on March 15th. She was also charged with conspiracy to commit armed robbery and attempted armed robbery of Hillary Cargill with a handgun. Police say Cargill was shot and killed after he and a woman were robbed in his house. Rigby wasn't required to enter a plea to the charges, and bail was denied. 25-year-old Shavargo James Saunders was also charged today with the shooting death of 23-year-old Dustin Culmer on January 29th. According to reports, Culmer was chased and gunned down in the Kennedy subdivision. Police reported the incident stemmed from an ongoing feud. Saunders wasn't required to enter a plea to the charges and bail was denied. Both Saunders and Rigby have been remanded to Her Majesty's Prison until May 21st. That's when they return to court for the Chief Magistrate Roger Gomez to serve them voluntary bills of indictment. Well, it appears that hunger strike by Cubans detained at the Carmichael Road Detention Center was short-lived. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Immigration confirmed that a number of Cuban detainees refused to eat Tuesday and yesterday afternoon. However, in a statement released today, the ministry is advising that those Cuban nationals who didn't accept their meals resumed accepting meals yesterday and also accept breakfast this morning. The ministry said officials searched the premises and confiscated several cellular phones from the detainees. Officials also reported that the detainees are in good health. Stick with us. Coming up after the break, the latest from the coroner's inquest into the police custody death of Aaron Roll. We'll tell you more about that and other stories when we come right back.